So I've had this power bank forever. It's an Anker power bank, and honestly, it's done really, really well for me over time. Have always loved using it, but now I'm on these cross Pacific trips, seemingly like every other month, and I always run into a problem on these trips with the outlets on planes going out or not working. Sometimes it's just frustrating because while I'm on there for 12, 15 hours, I plan all kinds of stuff to get done. And when the outlet goes out and then my computer dies, now I'm short and I'm screwed. It's like, what next? And so I always thought that this was going to be my savior and it was going to be able to charge my computers. Well, it wasn't. I'd plug it in and I'd get nothing. Or sometimes it would work and then sometimes it didn't. And so that was frustrating to say the least. And I've assumed forever that the problem here was this thing, because it is a couple years old, just wasn't powerful enough and I needed to get a new power bank. So I went to the Anker store and I bought a new power bank. Now, this power bank puts out a whopping, let me see here, 140 watts. So yes, this sucker is going to be able to charge my computer, right? Because the computer cable itself is 65 watts. I'm like, boom, this is it. This is going to work. I get it home. I plug it in. It doesn't work. And I'm thinking, what in the world? What is going on? And so something dawned on me that, well, maybe there's a problem with the cable. Maybe I just need new cables, right? And so I went online to buy new USB cables. And when I get online to buy these new USB cables, I'm going into the Anker store to buy them. But then I noticed in the marketplace that there was another cable, and on it, it showed that it was rated for 140 watts. And I'm thinking, are cables rated for their wattage? These USB cables, it never dawned on me. Now, this sucker cost me 170 bucks. This sucker cost me $4. I get this in, I plug it in, and lo and behold, it works. This charges my computer. But then I get the bright idea. What about the old one? Would it work on the old one? And sure enough, the old one charges my computer too. So the entire time, my problem was the cable. I went out and spent over $150 upgrading when all I needed was a $4 cable. Here's the deal though. How many times do we do that? We fix a problem that isn't a problem because we didn't take enough time to actually understand what the root problem was. We made an assumption, or we're dealing with a symptom that's a fruit issue, and we don't take the time to do the hard work to figure out what the root cause could have been. Now, for me, it would have just been asking maybe another question or two. And I would have realized I only needed $4, not $150. Right? And this is a small mistake. We do this as humans constantly. And this is one of the things that I love about the theory of constraints. And if you haven't heard of the theory of constraints, it's about time. Okay? It was first introduced to me by my buddy, Rob Lee, who introduced me to the book, It's Not Luck. And It's Not Luck goes through, and it's a fable, if you will, that teaches the theory of constraints. Now, I hadn't realized that we were using bits and pieces of this all the time, but what this system did was it gave us a system to use it all the time and to get to the place, when we use it, clearly I didn't hear, to figuring out what the actual root cause problem is. What is the actual thing that if we solved that thing, everything else would be solved, right? This was it. I needed a $4 cable to solve the whole thing. But let me ask you this. The thing that you're dealing with in your life right now, the issues that are coming up in your life that you're working through, have you ever stopped and thought about the fact that as diverse as all of those issues may be in your business right now, that there may be one thread, one root, one actual root cause problem, that if you solve that root cause problem, everything else will cascade. Now, it's easy, and I hear this from business owners all the time that I talk to, people who even who come to my AI mastermind, and we go through this process of trying to figure out what to build, and even the doctors that we work with that, oh, my problem is X, right? I need more sales. I need more of this. Because that's the easy thing to point to. But did you actually do the work to prove that that's the thing? I remember a couple of years ago, one doctor that we were working with, and they came in and they said, we need more leads. We need more leads. I said, okay, let's take a look at the leads that you currently have. And once we looked at the leads that I currently have, and then I asked the next question, what's the goal? Like, how much revenue are you looking for on a monthly basis? And they gave a number. And we looked at the leads that they currently have, and then we looked at their close rate on those leads. And we looked at the reason why the leads did not close. Okay? We realized that they had enough leads with invalid reasons, excuses as to why they didn't close, that they didn't press or a deal with enough, that they just let walk out of the door, that if they'd even just closed a small percentage of those, they would have hit their numbers. They were sitting in a place where their close rate sucked. They had enough leads. Leads wasn't their problem. Their close rate sucked. Fix the close rate, everything else fixes. But it feels like I need more leads. That's the thing that we see. That's the fruit issue. It's not the root issue. And so I highly suggest, if you haven't heard of Theory of Constraints, get the book. It's actually a pretty fun read on Audible. It's not luck. I cannot pronounce the author's last name to save my life. Goldratt. I can't say his first name. His last name is Goldratt. But absolutely wonderful book, and it will help frame your mind about how you think about problems and make things so much easier so that you can spend the $4 instead of the $150. Because sometimes all you need is the $4 solution.